CSS selectors and specificity are two foundational concepts of CSS, so let's check them out and see how they work. So there's multiple different ways we can select HTML elements using CSS selectors. So let's check out the very basic one, the element selector. So to start off, we'll go ahead and create our app.css file. And the way that we're going to include this in the HTML is inside of the head tag, we're going to create a link, and it's going to have an rel of style sheet. And the href is going to be that app.css that we just created. Now we should be able to select all of the HTML tags inside of this document here. So I've just gone ahead and added some basic HTML tags into our document that we can play with. And let's start off by selecting the body tag and changing the background color of the document. So we're going to select the body, just like that, and we're going to put in some curly braces. And the curly braces denote that this is the beginning of the selector and this is the end of the selector, and anything in between will be applied to the body tag. So let's just say background color of red, and as you can see over here, as soon as I save, the background color has changed to red. Now we can also select other HTML tags, so we could say h1, and inside of the h1 tag, let's change the color of the text. So we'll say color and we'll say green, just like that, and it'll change the color of the h1 text for all of the h1s to green. So we could add another h1 into here if we wanted, and we'll just add some random text, and you can see that this has also been changed to green as well. That's because it is changing the color for all of the h1s that match the h1 tag. So another way, and probably the most popular way for selecting HTML elements in CSS, is using the class syntax. So let's create a class on this HTML p tag, and let's just call it pizza facts. And we'll go ahead and save that. Now we can select it over here in the CSS by selecting a period, and then we'll select the pizza facts class. And that period is going to tell the browser that we're looking for a class called pizza facts. So now let's say we want to change the color of the text inside of the p tag. So we'll go ahead and select color, and we'll just go ahead and change that to white, just like that. And you can see over here that all of the text inside of that p tag has been changed to white. And that's simply because we have this pizza facts class added to the p tag over here in the HTML. Now there's another type of selector we can use, and it's the ID selector. So we can create an ID for this h2, and we'll just call it lunch. And now to select this in the CSS, we can go over here to the CSS file, and we are going to use the octothorpe or the pound sign. And then this is going to specify that we're looking for an ID, and we'll specify the lunch ID. And we can just change the color to blue, just like that, and now you can see the color of the h2 tag has changed to blue. Now these three selectors are the base type of selectors, but what happens if I add an ID and a class to the same HTML element? Well, let's talk about specificity now. So specificity refers to how specific a selector is. So you have the element selector, which is a specificity of 1. And then class selectors are going to have a specificity of 10. And then ID selectors are going to have a specificity of 100. And so if you're using VS Code, you can actually hover over the selector to see how specific it is. So if we look at this H1 here, we can see selector specificity of 001. And what this is referring to is the 100th place for this first 0, the 10th place for the second 0, and the 1's place for this third 0. So that means it has a 1 specificity. And that's the case for all element selectors. Now if we hover over this class selector, we can see selector specificity of 010. And what that's referring to is that we have a 10 specificity. So you can read this as a regular number, 010, which is 10. And this has a 10 specificity, which is higher than this H1 specificity of 1. And we can look at the ID selector, which has a specificity of 100 or 100, which refers to it has the highest specificity. And whoever has the highest specificity whenever it is run through, whenever the page is loaded, is going to be what is displayed on the screen. So if I had this ID and this class right here on the same element, I am going to see the styles for the ID displayed rather than the styles for the class because it has a higher specificity. So what do you think is going to happen if we have a specificity tie? Well, let's say we have this situation here. We have two classes on this p tag. We have pizza facts and we have lunch. And let's change this lunch to a class. Now you can see that we've got a selector specificity of 10 on this one, and we have a selector specificity of 10 on this one. And they're both accessing the color and changing the color to two different colors. So what exactly is going to happen whenever I save this? Well, whenever I save it, you can see it's turned blue. But why did it change blue and not stay at white? Well, the reason that it changed to blue is because whenever we have a specificity tie, it's always going to go with the last one that it read. So the browser parses it from top to bottom. So it's going to parse through all of this, and then it's going to get down to here, and it's going to see it's a specificity of 10. So it's going to go ahead and apply it. Then it's going to come down to here and see that it's also a specificity of 10. And since this is the last one that the browser sees, this is going to be the one that is applied. So if we had something like this and we add a third class to this and just call it pizza, and we save that, and then we go over here and select that class pizza, and we change the color to black, it's going to change the color to black because this is the last one that the browser read. And that is the basics of selectors and selector specificity. So if you did like the video, make sure you slap a like on it. Check out the full playlist, link is down in the description below. Make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.